in the end, find themselves envying those who choose to live alone. Life teaches us that we arrive alone and leave this world similarly. As we age, we realize that siblings, friends, and children are often temporary figures. A wise individual in their 90s shared this perspective, making one ponder. When we are young, we thrive on the company of others, feeling alive and joyful. Yet, as the years pass, that joy can diminish, often replaced by the stress relationships can bring. Many older individuals assert that solitude can lead to greater happiness. Even the Buddha and numerous philosophers from various cultures have contemplated the essence of solitude. Reflecting on their teachings, we can gather wisdom on embracing a happy life alone in our later years. There are four fundamental types of solitude we encounter. We come into this world alone, we leave it alone, we endure our suffering alone, and we navigate the cycle of existence alone. The karma we create is uniquely ours, as is the karma we face. Life is undeniably challenging. You are born, age, endure sickness, and eventually die all on your own. While you may cross paths with family and friends, your journey through life, those connections are transient. Ultimately, every individual walks their unique path. Embracing the reality of your solitude shouldn't be a source of distress. Instead, it calls for living an independent life and forging your journey with intent. True fulfillment comes from standing tall within yourself and discovering peace within that independence. If you seek happiness through others, you may find yourself in a constant state of unease. Pursuing external accolades, money, fame, power, or possessions offers only fleeting satisfaction. These are all impermanent. The pain often begins when you cling to someone you love. Focus on your path instead of holding on to those you love or dislike. Strive to embody the spirit of a lion unfazed by chaos, or a lotus untouched by the mud. Journey forth like the rare unicorn, singular and uncontained. Dependency breeds suffering, whereas self-reliance brings true joy. Tying your heart to another can lead to profound pain. This isn't merely about ownership but about emotional enslavement. Consider how much we bind ourselves to external factors: money, status, relationships, all of which can tether us down. The more we lean on these outside influences, the more we fluctuate between happiness and despair, which can indeed feel like a form of modern slavery. Any dependency on external sources leads to pain. In contrast, finding joy in your solitary journey, liberated from external distractions, leads to the most accurate form of freedom. In the end, many people find themselves envying those who choose to live alone. Life teaches us that we arrive alone and leave this world similarly. As we age, we realize that siblings, friends, and children are often temporary figures. A wise individual in their 90s shared this perspective, making one ponder. When we are young, we thrive on the company of others, feeling alive and joyful. Yet, as the years pass, that joy can diminish, often replaced by the stress relationships can bring. Many older individuals assert that solitude can lead to greater happiness. Even the Buddha and numerous philosophers from various cultures have contemplated the essence of solitude. Reflecting on their teachings, we can gather wisdom on embracing a happy life alone in our later years. There are four fundamental types of solitude we encounter. We come into this world alone, we leave it alone, we endure our suffering alone, and we navigate the cycle of existence alone. The karma we create is uniquely ours, as is the karma we face. Life is undeniably challenging. You are born, age, endure sickness, and eventually die all on your own. While you may cross paths with family and friends, your journey through life, those connections are transient. Ultimately, every individual walks their unique path. Embracing the reality of your solitude shouldn't be a source of distress. Instead, it calls for living an independent life and forging your journey with intent. True fulfillment comes from standing tall within yourself and discovering peace within that independence. If you seek happiness through others, you may find yourself in a constant state of unease. Pursuing external accolades, money, fame, power, or possessions offers only fleeting satisfaction. These are all impermanent. The pain often begins when you cling to someone you love. Focus on your path instead of holding on to those you love or dislike. Strive to embody the spirit of a lion unfazed by chaos, or a lotus untouched by the mud. Journey forth like the rare unicorn, singular and uncontained. Dependency breeds suffering, whereas self-reliance brings true joy. Tying your heart to another can lead to profound pain. This isn't merely about ownership but about emotional enslavement. Consider how much we bind ourselves to external factors: money, status, relationships, all of which can tether us down. The more we lean on these outside influences, the more we fluctuate between happiness and despair, which can indeed feel like a form of modern slavery. Any dependency on external sources leads to pain. In contrast, finding joy in your solitary journey, liberated from external distractions, leads to the most accurate form of freedom. You must do what's right, even when it feels easy or challenging. Don't let personal feelings or selfish desires lead you astray, and certainly don't make the wrong choice. If you avoid doing what you must do because it's difficult, or focus on immediate benefits at the expense of what is morally right, you'll find yourself facing trouble. Life's most straightforward truth is that you must always act rightly and never do wrong. Wisdom and good fortune come from practicing generosity and sharing. Opening your heart and sharing with others is the right thing to do and should be a guiding principle in your life. The wisdom that allows you to let go of attachments comes through practice, which clears away worries and distractions, leading your mind to peace and calm. Sharing with your neighbors brings good fortune and helps you overcome greed and desire, guiding your heart toward simplicity and clarity of mind. Helping those in need, sharing what you have, letting go of greed, and emptying your heart are all essential practices. I start with a clear mind every morning and dedicate myself to prayer. Living a simple and humble life and finding harmony with nature are crucial. Take a moment to reflect on life. There are actions we should avoid and others we often ignore that we should embrace. Loneliness can be the greatest teacher of happiness and wisdom. When you come close to the truth, it shines like the snow on a high mountain. When you drift away from it, it becomes obscured, like an arrow shot into the night. Embracing solitude, resting alone, and walking alone if you remain mindful and keep your body aligned can bring joy to your heart, almost like being in a forest. Once, when the Buddha was in Savatthi, he heard about a monk who lived alone and begged for alms. The Buddha asked him, "Are you living alone and begging alone?" The monk replied, "Yes, blessed one, I am." The Buddha responded, "You're living alone, but there is an even better way. It's about completely forgetting the past and not clinging to the future. Living in the present without attachment, having a mind free of hesitation, and letting go of worries and regrets means abandoning desires and cutting off delusions. That is what a genuinely great solitary life looks like. It is said that solitude is wisdom, the best teacher. Being alone allows you to make the most of yourself. A person who relies solely on themselves is often described as having a strong will. The wisdom of emptiness is like a light in the dark. Without the wisdom of giving, you may enjoy a good life, but you won't go beyond that. If you lack wisdom in your actions, you may be born in a heavenly realm for a short time. Without understanding human desires, you may reap some benefits in this life, but working hard without wisdom will only create temporary merits. Without the wisdom of meditation, you won't achieve a focused state like diamonds. And without the wisdom of good deeds, you will only cause more delusions and confusion. So remember, wisdom is like a light in the darkness. It is the foundation of a meaningful life. No matter what actions you take, what blessings you seek, what right path you follow, or what good deeds you perform, if they aren't rooted in wisdom, you won't truly gain significant merit. Not being able to do something. Wisdom is the light that dispels all suffering and darkness. Without wisdom, nothing becomes clear, and even the virtues of diligence and self-discipline can't amount to much. The essence of the six perfections is wisdom. So, what is wisdom? Just knowing a lot is merely knowledge, not wisdom. Knowledge is about filling your mind, while wisdom is about emptying it. We fill our heads with ways to make money and satisfy our greed, claiming it's just about acquiring more. In today's society, this kind of knowledge is considered the best, and even if it makes us rich and smart, it doesn't bring happiness, freedom, or peace. The more we fill ourselves up, the less free we feel and the more trapped and unhappy we become. Happiness, freedom, peace, and even enlightenment come not from filling up but from emptying. True peace quietly settles within us when we let go of knowledge, desires, attachments, cravings, and worries. In the worldly sense, the more you fill up, the richer you become, but in the realm of truth, wealth comes from how much you let go. Knowledge is the standard in the world, but wisdom takes the lead in pursuing success. True happiness often arrives when you're alone. Sitting by yourself, the path of a seeker is a solo journey. Joy comes in solitude. We've felt happiness, comfort, and love with others, but being alone often makes us anxious and confused. However, genuine inner happiness is found in solitude. The happiness from being surrounded by people or from money, fame, and power is false and fleeting. If you can walk confidently alone, you'll possess a serene spirit that external possessions or people don't sway. In solitude, you connect with the whole universe. Being alone means breaking free from outside influences and facing yourself directly without getting swept away by anything. It's about being free from external pressures, which allows you to truly feel, recognize, and understand the world and nature, opening your eyes to true wisdom. To understand who you are, what Buddhism represents, and what wisdom means, you must be completely alone body, mind, and soul. That's when you discover what true joy is. The joy of being alone surpasses the joy of being with someone else or possessing things. It's a unique state that you can't realize otherwise. Love can be hidden in loneliness. Someone with 100 loved ones faces 100 sorrows and pains. But someone without a loved one feels no pain, they have no sorrow or anxiety. You also bear many sorrows and pains when you have 100 loved ones. With 100 attachments come 100 desires and wishes to fulfill and 100 obsessions. No, there's more pain that comes with it. Whether attachment, desire, or love, suffering often arises from our deepest affections. Reflect on what you genuinely cherish: material things, thoughts, or relationships. What could I truly let go of if I faced my end today? My children, my partner, my wealth, my honor, my love. These things I hold dear, yet they can lead to my suffering. Attachment to what we love inevitably brings pain because where there's attachment, there's suffering. Cherish what you love, but avoid possession. Even if it becomes yours, don't cling to it. In this world, nothing truly belongs to us, there's nothing to love or hate. It's simply an empty expanse where our hearts struggle to find rest. While we often turn to love to escape loneliness, everyone grapples with that lurking emptiness deep within. Ultimately, this is part of the human experience. When we confront that profound loneliness, true love can flourish: a pure, apparent love, free from obsession, blossoming like a radiant flower. Discovering yourself doesn't lie in anything outside you. The strongest and bravest individuals lead themselves, and when that enlightened mind remains unshakable, we recognize a true sage. Understanding your past and grasping the cycle of life and death, your wisdom can shine with the brilliance of the Buddha. Stand firm with oneself is the most fantastic show of strength and courage. If you can't advocate for yourself, you can't advocate for others. A person who lacks self-control cannot hold sway over anyone else. Cicero wisely noted that true happiness eludes those who don't wholly commit their souls to themselves and cultivate their inner richness. Do not relinquish your authority to anyone, not even to the divine. It's about forging your path and resisting the urge to let a higher power dictate your journey. Your life today is shaped by your choices, not by deities. David Lawrence captured the essence of individuality when he stated that we are fundamentally alone. I am who I am, and in embracing this truth, I find profound solitude. Accepting this fact as the foundation of my self-awareness creates my most profound happiness. Seek not your identity in things foreign to your essence. Avoid chasing validation in places where you do not naturally belong. If your heart doesn't honestly wish to give to someone, abandon the effort. Any action that lacks genuine emotion is devoid of your true self, for you exist entirely within. Transforming a heart weighed down by life's burdens into one that radiates brightness and kindness represents the ultimate happiness and actual value we can achieve. It's a line that embodies spiritual happiness, empowering your strength and courage. You might be amazed by the strength you thought was unattainable. Nothing is impossible if you don't shy away from challenges. You can be a disciple of the Buddha, discovering that strength within yourself. Everyone has the potential to embrace this path, and those who engage with the teachings are indeed disciples. Keep practicing, even through struggles. Fortify your power and courage, affirming your status as a disciple of the Buddha. Embrace the mysterious moments of solitude. Navigating the right path in life can be daunting, and being born into existence brings unique challenges. The Buddha's arrival in this world was exceptional, and hearing his teachings is a rare gift. We often find ourselves cast into existence without awareness. Heidegger's words may evoke confusion, yet everyone experiences this randomness. It's remarkable to recognize that we are all brought into life by forces beyond our control. This is both a grace and a blessing. We are fortunate to live in an era where the Buddha's wisdom still resonates. Many journey through life unaware of this incredible blessing. Our ignorance can be profound. After attaining enlightenment, the Buddha met the heretic Ubaya, who saw the brilliance in his spirit. When questioned about his teacher, the Buddha asserted his unique status. He proclaimed himself the conqueror, free from desires, boundless in wisdom, and unparalleled in enlightenment. He stood as the saint of the world. Dane, too, found peace within his emotions and reached enlightenment alone, sharing powerful teachings in Benares. His words inspired and transformed, leaving the crowd in awe. As Pascal noted, people can be categorized in their pursuit of God and wisdom. Some actively seek and serve God, while others either cannot or choose not to, leading to a lack of true happiness. Only those who open their eyes to seek truth can grasp it. Life flows around us, but engagement requires diving deep, otherwise, you risk drifting away from genuine connection. In those quiet moments of solitude, profound understanding and clarity await. Embrace being alone, it's what will truly make you human. After all, we're all just thrown into existence. You need to understand 4 kinds of loneliness as you grow older. First, we come into this world alone and leave it alone. We experience pain alone and walk the path of reincarnation alone. The karma we create is our own, and we face the consequences alone. The struggles of birth, aging, illness, and death are all faced alone, and the wheel of reincarnation spins on its own. Sure, we meet parents, family, partners, and friends in this life, but those connections are fleeting. Ultimately, we walk our path alone. Everyone arrives in this life alone and must leave alone. Accept your solitude, don't try to escape it. You need to live independently and carve out a life that's true to yourself. That's how you fully embrace the journey that's meant for you. It's when you can stand tall on your own. Only by being together with others can we truly find peace. If you're looking for happiness in that, it's always fleeting and filled with anxiety. Even if you think money, fame, and power will bring you happiness, that too is temporary and hollow. Life is all about connections. Every meeting eventually leads to a goodbye. You need to be able to walk your lonely path with confidence. The pain starts when you cling to someone you meet along the way, trying to make them yours. Don't hold on to loved ones or harbor hatred for others. Focus on the path you must walk alone. Be like a lion that isn't startled by noise, a lotus that remains untouched by mud, and a wind that doesn't get caught in nets. Go your way like a single horn of a rhinoceros. Being tied to others brings suffering, while walking your path brings joy. Just think about how painful it is to be bound to others. It's not just about being a slave. If your heart is tied to someone else, that's a life of servitude. How much of our hearts are enslaved to outside things, like money, fame, and power? How much are we tied down by our status, gender, or education? The more we let those things control us, the happier or more miserable we feel. Living a life like that is nothing short of being a slave. Anything that makes us feel trapped is painful. True joy comes from walking our path. When I'm not swayed by anyone or anything, just focusing on my journey, that's where I find my greatest happiness. I don't need to live or strive to be like anyone else. I want to be myself and walk my road. When no one ties you down, you don't get caught up in the ups and downs of outside circumstances. You don't waste time wishing to be like someone else or feeling sorry for your situation. Instead, you know exactly where you need to go, and you walk that path. Each moment on that journey is complete, and every step forward feels like reaching your ultimate destination. You walk freely, unbound and unaffected by anything around you. Don't be afraid, and don't worry, always find joy in walking your path every moment. Don't let others shake you. Like a solid rock stands firm against the wind, a wise person isn't swayed by praise or criticism. They don't bother anyone with their words, actions, or thoughts. They live a life that may not earn them respect, but they don't let others' criticism get to them. That person is living the most righteous life. Don't seek praise or attention from others. Sure, it feels good to be recognized, but feeling discouraged shows a weak ego tossed around by others' opinions if you can't get that attention. You should be cautious when you receive compliments or attention. That's when you're in a risky spot because it can take you off your center. A grounded person stays rooted in themselves, unaffected by outside praise or criticism. The more someone gets caught up in compliments, the more they feel down when criticized. But don't get too high on praise, either. Those who stand their ground and protect themselves won't be swayed, even if they face harsh criticism. They don't expect praise and don't shy away from criticism. When compliments and criticisms come their way, they should be able to accept them without getting too excited or upset. To avoid criticism, you must let go of the desire for praise. Once you drop the need for compliments, the urge to dodge criticism will naturally fade since both extremes come from the same root. You should be able to embrace both praise and criticism and integrate them within yourself. Hearing compliments or receiving respect shouldn't make you puffed up, and facing criticism shouldn't lead to despair. You won't be swayed by what others say if you have a strong sense of self. Just like a deep-rooted tree or a tall mountain stands firm against storms. A person with a solid foundation will remain unshaken by external opinions or warnings. Also, make sure to cut off unnecessary connections. Focus on practicing what's right daily and avoid what's wrong. You should never give up. You can't change your beliefs based on how easy or hard things are. If you turn your back on challenges because they're tough now, how will you know that tomorrow won't be even more challenging? In everyday life, you must do what's right and stop doing what's wrong. You must stick to your responsibilities and avoid what you shouldn't do. Don't get caught up in feelings or personal gains that lead you away from doing what's right. And don't give in to doing the wrong things just because it seems more manageable now. If you neglect what you must do or chase after immediate rewards that aren't good for you, you're only setting yourself up for more significant problems. The most straightforward truth in life is that you must do what's right and avoid what's wrong. Gaining wisdom and virtue comes from knowing this. Practicing generosity and letting go are always the right things and principles you should live by. The wisdom that helps you clear your mind comes from practice. It lets you let go of attachments and frees you from worries and distractions. Letting go of burdens and guiding my heart toward a tranquil state of peace opens the door to abundance through generosity. By sharing my possessions with neighbors, I dissolve my cravings for material wealth and cultivate a spirit of simplicity and humility. Engaging in acts of kindness, helping those in need, sharing my belongings, releasing my grip on greed, and clearing the clutter from my mind becomes vital to my growth. Quiet moments spent in meditation and sincere morning prayers ground me in purity and intention. Living a life of simplicity and modesty enhances my connection with nature, creating a harmonious balance that nurtures my spirit. I must pause and reflect on my life. Are there actions I should avoid? Are there responsibilities I've been neglecting? Loneliness can be an enlightening companion, teaching valuable lessons about happiness and wisdom. When near a stone, its essence becomes apparent, much like the brilliant snow that adorns a tall mountain, yet, when I wander too far, its presence fades, reminiscent of an arrow that slips silently into the night. Embracing solitude and walking alone on my unique journey allows me to remain focused on what truly matters, resulting in a heart that swells with joy, akin to wandering freely in a serene forest. While the Buddha visited the bustling city of Savatthi, he encountered a monk who was content in his solitude, savoring his own company. Inquiring gently, the Buddha asked the monk if he lived and begged in isolation. The monk affirmed, "Yes, indeed, Blessed One." The Buddha recognized that while this monk understood the essence of solitude, a deeper state of being alone exists transcending mere physical isolation. True solitude invites us to completely release the past, let go of the rigid grasp on the future, and refrain from getting ensnared in the tumult of the present moment. It is about shedding any hesitation, liberating the heart from worries and regrets, and moving beyond the confines of desire. This more profound understanding of loneliness is the ultimate teacher, revealing wisdom through introspection and self-reliance. The wisdom of emptiness glimmers like a beacon in obscurity, emphasizing that without the guiding light of generosity, one might lead a comfortable life yet remain blind to profound understanding. A life led without wisdom may offer transient joys but lacks depth. If one fails to practice good conduct, the rewards reaped may only be skin deep, yielding outward appearances without actual substance. Hard work alone, devoid of wisdom, results in fleeting gains that disintegrate over time. Without the insights cultivated through meditation and reflection, the deeper truths of existence remain elusive. The cycle of confusion and suffering continues if one lacks the consistency of noble deeds or struggles to attain a focused, clear mind. Emphasizing the irreplaceable value of wisdom, it is the foundation for a meaningful life. No matter the intentions behind our actions, the blessings we aspire to, or our efforts toward righteous living, those pursuits dissolve into insignificance without wisdom. Wisdom becomes the illuminating force that dispels shadows of suffering. Without this essential understanding, even the most noble actions, acts of kindness, adherence to moral guidelines, and the striving for goodness can spiral into fruitlessness. Among the six perfections, wisdom stands supreme. But what defines wisdom? Accumulating knowledge merely fills the mind. It is not the same as wisdom. Knowledge can clutter thoughts, while true wisdom is a cleansing force. In our quest for knowledge to amass fortune and fulfill our desires, we find ourselves clinging to transient things, desperately trying to make them our own. Society often glorifies this type of knowledge, equating it with success. Yet, even if such pursuits lead to wealth and intelligence, they offer no real connection to happiness, freedom, or lasting peace. In reality, the more we fill our lives with material possessions, the more our sense of liberty evaporates, leaving us feeling constrained and unfulfilled. Being stuck in a cycle of discontent does not cultivate true happiness or freedom. Instead, those qualities emerge when we learn to let go rather than accumulate. Enlightenment isn't discovered through the relentless pursuit of knowledge. desires, attachments, or cravings rather, it blossoms in our serene, unblemished space. In the material world, we often gauge our worth by how much we can collect, yet in the realm of truth and more profound meaning, our richness is determined by how much we manage to relinquish. While society values knowledge acquisition, wisdom guides us on the path of life. Genuine happiness arrives not through the company of others but through a deep acceptance of solitude. The essence of sitting alone cannot be overstated. The journey of a true seeker is inherently solitary. Joy often appears to take root in the moments shared with others, filled with love and connection. Yet, in the quiet of our own company, we might feel anxiety creeping in, a feeling of being adrift. However, the real fountain of happiness emerges when we turn inward, discovering the peace that solitude can offer us. The fleeting happiness derived from social interactions. Wealth, fame, or power is superficial. True contentment arises from a profound sense of self, even in solitude. When we walk confidently along our path, we cultivate a resilient mind that isn't easily swayed by possessions or the whims of other people. In solitude, we establish a deeper connection with the universe around us. Being alone does not equate to loneliness or isolation, rather, it signifies liberation from external influences, clearing the mind of distractions and allowing for honest self reflection. In this state of awareness, we begin to truly experience and comprehend the world and nature surrounding us, awakening to authentic wisdom. To truly understand who you are, the essence of Buddhism, and the nature of wisdom, embracing complete solitude of body, mind, and soul is essential. Within this solitude lies a unique joy that surpasses any moment shared with another or any material possession. There is a profound pleasure in unparalleled solitude that cannot be replicated even in the presence of numerous loved ones. Those who possess great wealth often bear untold burdens of pain and sorrow. Conversely, those without a cherished companion may find themselves unencumbered, feeling little regret or worry. The reality is that no matter how vast your circle of loved ones may be, pain and grief can still shadow your heart. Attachment to desires, objects, or even affection for others results in an escalation of suffering. Whether it's romantic love, ambition, or deep-seated desires, they all arise from the same source of craving. Consider deeply what you genuinely cherish, whether it's a material possession, a spiritual pursuit, or even a person. What would I find worth dying for if I faced my end right now? My children, my partner, material wealth, fame, these are what I cling to, yet they also serve as sources of pain. Attachment to what we love inevitably brings suffering. Wherever there is attachment, sorrow lurks in the shadows. Love deeply but resist the urge to claim ownership. Even if it feels like it's yours, hold it lightly. Ultimately, in this world, nothing truly belongs to us. Embracing this reality is key to reducing our suffering and inviting genuine peace into our lives. There's nothing to love or hate. The world often feels like an empty expanse with nowhere to attach our hearts. We frequently turn to love to counter loneliness, yet a profound emptiness resides beneath the surface. This inherent sense of isolation stems from the lack of solid ground to stand upon, leaving humans to grapple with feelings of loneliness. Only when we confront this solitude directly can true love emerge pure and untainted, much like a flower blossoming in the sunshine. Don't seek your identity in anything external, for the most vigorous and courageous individuals have learned to be self-reliant. When an awakened mind remains steadfast, that is what we refer to as a true person. This individual understands life's cycles, comprehends the intricacies of death, and possesses a depth of wisdom that radiates like the enlightenment of a Buddha. The embodiment of strength and bravery is found in deep self-acceptance. If you cannot stand within yourself, you will struggle to present an upright facade to the world. If you lack self-control, you cannot govern interactions with others. Cicero articulated that those who invest their essence into themselves and claim ownership of their inner world inevitably find happiness. Do not allow others, humans or deities, to usurp your authority. You alone determine your relationship with the divine, not vice versa. Living today and making choices about your life are your responsibilities, not dictated by any god. As David Lawrence astutely observed, the uniqueness of our existence inherently implies solitude. I am my person, and as long as I embrace my individuality, I am inevitably a permanent solo act. This realization and acceptance form the cornerstone of self-awareness, leading to true happiness. Do not seek your essence in spaces that don't resonate with your true self. Avoid seeking validation where you don't truly belong. If you don't genuinely wish to give to someone, it's best to refrain. Any action lacking true intent does not authentically reflect who you are. The truth lies in the fullness of your existence. Amiel once noted that transforming a heavy heart, weighed down by life's burdens, into something that embraces anger, while still embodying kindness, reflects true happiness, treasure, and value. Humans possess a natural goodness, and true happiness is rooted in this strength and courage. You may be surprised by the inherent strength within you that you once thought was beyond reach. Remember, nothing is impossible if you refuse to retreat in adversity. You can indeed become a disciple of the Buddha. The strength you once perceived as elusive is well within your grasp. Those who cherish the Master's teachings are considered disciples of the Buddha, and anyone who learns from him is also included in that circle. Continue to practice diligently, nurture your courage, and affirm your identity as a disciple of the Buddha. Immerse yourself in those profound moments of solitude. While the path of self-discovery is not easy to navigate, the journey leads to enlightenment and growth. It's a profound challenge just to be born and to navigate the complexities of a long life. The mere act of experiencing the world can feel overwhelming, let alone grasping the teachings of the Buddha. We often feel like we have been unceremoniously thrown into existence, much like Heidegger's words struck me with their weight, echoing a vague, unkeepable promise and leaving a lingering sense of emptiness. When you think about it, all living beings share this same experience of being thrust into life. The fact that we exist is a remarkable phenomenon, an extraordinary grace and blessing. Furthermore, we are fortunate to live in an era where we have access to the Buddha's profound words. Yet we often move through our daily lives oblivious to the enormity of that gift. Our ignorance knows no bounds. After attaining enlightenment, the Buddha was on his way to share his insights in the Benares region when he encountered a layman named Ubaga. Ubaga looked at him wonderfully, exclaiming, "Master, your face radiates with light. Who did you ordain under, and who is your teacher?" The Buddha responded, "I am the one who has conquered everything. I possess complete knowledge. I am liberated from all worries and have severed the chains of desire. Having conquered my cravings, I have discovered freedom and attained the highest wisdom. Thus, I need no teacher, neither earth nor heaven can match my realization. I am the saint of this world, the most outstanding teacher, the Buddha, who has come to embody the ultimate truth. I have found peace that transcends all emotions and reached nirvana through my efforts. Now, I am off to teach the Dharma in Benares, heralding the eternal truth in this transient world." As I share these profound teachings, the people may be taken aback, potentially doubting their ears. In their confusion, they may retreat from the presence of the Buddha as if fleeing in panic. Pascal once identified three categories: those who seek God and serve Him, those who cannot find God and do not even attempt to, and those who can discover God but choose not to. The latter may possess wisdom but still reside in a state of unhappiness. Only those who have opened their eyes to the truth for the sake of truth itself can genuinely grasp its depth. Proper understanding is found only by those who arrive at the birthplace of truth. Stripped of power and pretense, they can truly elevate it. Life flows endlessly around us, but those who immerse themselves in this flow differentiate themselves from those who do. Note, and this separation results in a profound sense of solitude. Therefore, it's crucial to embrace those quiet moments when you can be alone. Within these periods, you genuinely become more human. Ultimately, all of us are simply beings cast into existence. As you grow older, it's essential to understand the four types of loneliness accompanying us through life. First, we enter this world alone and depart from it in solitude. We endure suffering in isolation and tread the path of reincarnation by ourselves. The karma we create is ours to bear, and the consequences we face are equally solitary. The struggles associated with birth, aging, illness, and death are all experiences we navigate without the comfort of others. As the wheel of reincarnation turns independently of us, although we form connections with parents, family, partners, and friends throughout our lives, those bonds are ultimately temporary. Ultimately, we each walk our path alone, arriving in this life solo and departing the same way. You enter this world alone, and there are moments when you must also navigate your journey in solitude. Embrace your solitude instead of fighting to escape it. Learn to thrive in it. You can shape your life, carving it in a way that resonates with your true self. This autonomy is essential for fully embracing your path as a person. Genuine peace arises when you cultivate the strength to stand on 2 feet. If you seek happiness solely in the company of others, you may find it remains fragile and uncertain. As you chase happiness through transient means such as money, fame, power, or material possessions, remember that these things are ephemeral and ultimately hollow. Life consists of connections, yet every encounter will eventually lead to a goodbye. Thus, you must walk your solitary path with dignity and pride. The pain often begins when you cling desperately to those you meet, attempting to possess what cannot be owned. Instead, avoid holding tightly to love or hate, focus on walking your unique journey. Be like a lion that remains unflustered by noise, a lotus that remains pure amidst muddy waters, or a gust of wind that evades capture. Choose to forge your way, for being tethered to others will only lead to suffering. Walking your path brings immense joy. Being anchored down by the expectations or demands of others can become excruciating. It's not merely about being an enslaved person in the traditional sense. Having your heart entangled with someone else's is akin to living a life of servitude. Consider how much we allow ourselves to become attached to external factors: money, fame, power, status, education, believing that attaining more will lead to happiness while having less will lead to suffering. Isn't this a form of bondage to those external influences? The true joy of existence springs from the ability to navigate your unique path independently. When you are not swayed by the opinions or desires of others, focusing instead on your journey, you discover the greatest pleasure. You don't need to live according to someone else's standards or aspire to be someone you're not. Simply being authentic and following your path is what leads to true happiness. Those who tread their way are not confined by the ups and downs of their surroundings. They refuse to waste their energy lamenting their situation or trying to fit themselves into someone else's mold. As you walk your path, remain steadfast, with clarity about where you wish to go. For some, life is about capturing those perfect moments, where each step brings a sense of reaching the ultimate destination. Unrestrained by others, you can freely meander along your chosen road. When you're not bound or confined, you find liberation from fear or worry, allowing each moment to be infused with the joy of pursuing your direction, leaving you feeling truly fulfilled. Do not let the opinions of others unbalance you, just as a sturdy rock stands firm against fierce winds. A wise person remains unmoved by both praise and criticism. They avoid crossing anyone's feelings and do not succumb to arrogance, maintaining their composure despite disapproval. This is how one lives a life of righteousness in this world. Seek not validation or attention from others. While compliments may feel gratifying, relying on them can lead to disappointment. Such dependency is merely a sign of a fragile ego buffeted by the winds of external approval. Instead, cultivate strength from within and let your path unfold in its natural beauty. You must tread carefully, as this is when things can become perilous, throwing you off balance. A centered individual remains unshaken by external praise or criticism, maintaining their grounding regardless of outside influences. The more someone revels in compliments, the harder they can fall when faced with criticism. If you can keep a sense of calm and not let praise elevate you too high, you'll find that criticism won't drag you down, either. It's vital to accept both feedback without clinging to either extreme. To shield yourself from criticism, relinquish the craving for praise. Once you stop pursuing adulation, the impulse to avoid negativity will fade, as both come from the same underlying desire. You should be capable of processing everything, whether praise or criticism, internally. Enjoy compliments, but don't let them inflate your ego. When facing criticism, don't allow it to discourage you. A genuinely centered person remains steadfast, unaffected by the fluctuations of others' opinions. Much like a deeply rooted tree that withstands fierce winds or a towering mountain that endures relentless rain, a true practitioner knows how to stay centered, refusing to be swayed by outside judgments or challenges. If something feels off, you must learn to let it go. In your daily life, it is essential to actively pursue what is right and refrain from what is wrong. Maintaining your beliefs in the face of adversity is paramount. If you abandon what you should uphold simply because it now feels difficult, who knows how much harder it could become later? Commit to what is right and release what isn't. Execute your responsibilities and steer clear of actions driven by personal feelings or selfish ambitions that could lead you astray. Suppose you allow immediate discomfort to deter you from taking essential steps or choose short-term gains over what is ethically sound. In that case, you will undoubtedly encounter more significant challenges down the line. The simplest and most profound truth is always to do what is right. Strive to avoid actions that deviate from wisdom and virtue. Embracing letting go and sharing is consistently the right path to follow and an important principle to live by. Wisdom cleanses the mind, enabling you to release attachments and freeing you from worries and distractions, ultimately leading you toward peace and tranquility. Sharing what you have with neighbors fosters an increase in virtue, helping to diminish greed and desire, thus cultivating a heart oriented towards simplicity and pure humility. Engaging in acts of kindness, sharing your belongings, releasing avarice, and clearing your mind are all fundamental responsibilities. Sitting in quiet contemplation, offering heartfelt prayers each morning, Embracing a simple and humble life and seeking harmony with nature are vital tasks to prioritize. Take a moment to reflect on your life. Are you compelling yourself into actions that don't serve you? Are you neglecting essential commitments? It is often in solitude that we find the most significant lessons in happiness and wisdom. When you draw close to a stone, its essence reveals itself, much like the snow that rests gracefully atop a lofty mountain. Embrace these reflections, for they guide you toward a deeper understanding of existence and the path ahead. If you keep your distance from stones, they won't stand out like an arrow released in the dark. When you take the time to sit alone, lie down in solitude, and walk your path, focusing solely on one thing with a straightened body, you'll discover a joy akin to being deep in the woods. There's a story about the Buddha at the Jetavana monastery, where he asked a monk who lived and begged for alms alone, "Do you truly stay alone and beg alone?" The monk affirmed, "Yes, blessed one." The Buddha replied, "You may live alone, but an even deeper way exists to embrace solitude. This means completely forgetting the past, harboring no clinging to the future, and remaining unattached to the present moment. It involves a mind free from hesitation, letting go of worries and regrets, distancing yourself from desires, and severing the ties of suffering. That is the true essence of living alone. They say solitude is the best teacher of wisdom, allowing you to utilize your potential fully. A person who relies solely on themselves embodies true spiritual strength. Wisdom serves as a beacon in the darkness. Life may seem fleeting without it, and if your actions lack wisdom, you will only encounter temporary pleasures. Even if you pour your efforts into your pursuits, your merits will remain superficial without wisdom. While you may cultivate a focused mind through meditation, the absence of deeper understanding limits your growth. Furthermore, you risk generating more confusion and suffering without the wisdom accompanying good deeds. Therefore, wisdom remains the light that dispels darkness and the foundation of a meaningful existence. Regardless of the actions, blessings, or virtues you accumulate, they will not yield actual value if they lack the grounding of wisdom. Wisdom transforms the struggle into growth. Without it, even acts of generosity, discipline, patience, concentration, and effort lose significance. The essence of perfection is rooted in wisdom. So, what is wisdom? It's important to note that merely knowing a lot signifies knowledge, not wisdom. While knowledge fills the mind, wisdom purges it of greed and desire, redirecting focus to deeper understanding. Recognizing the vital importance of letting go of attachments is essential. Many believe that accumulating knowledge and wealth represents the ultimate ambition in our modern world. However, even if that accumulation leads to riches and intelligence, it does not guarantee genuine happiness, freedom, or peace. The more possessions you accumulate, the more suffocated and discontent you can become. True happiness, freedom, and peace alongside enlightenment come from emptying yourself rather than constantly filling up. A profound sense of fulfillment arises when you release desires, greed, attachments, and worries. In the material world, wealth translates to accumulation, but in terms of spiritual truth, your richness is determined by how much you can let go. Though society often values knowledge, wisdom is most significant in the quest for a meaningful life. Real happiness frequently unfolds in solitude. Embrace the experience of being alone. The path of a seeker is inherently solitary. Joy arrives when you are by yourself. Although we traditionally associate happiness with companionship, feeling cozy and loved alone can sometimes provoke persistent anxiety. However, in those quiet moments of solitude, we may discover deeper truths about ourselves and the world around us, ultimately leading to a more profound and lasting happiness. I often feel flustered and unsure of what to do. Yet, I realize that true happiness comes when I'm by myself. The joy from being around people or from money, fame, or power is fleeting and deceptive. If I can learn to walk confidently alone, I won't be influenced by material possessions or others. Being alone allows me to connect with the universe, breaking free from external pressures and enabling me to face myself honestly. In those moments of solitude, I understand the world and nature around me, which opens my eyes to real wisdom. To comprehend who I am, what Buddhism represents, and the essence of wisdom, I need to delve deep into my being, body, mind, and soul. It's essential to know how to be alone. That's when I truly grasp what joy is. The happiness derived from companionship or material wealth pales compared to this pure, profound joy that can only be experienced in solitude. There's a form of love found in loneliness. When surrounded by many loved ones, I also bear the weight of pain and sadness. Without attachments, I can avoid that turmoil. The difficulties that come with loving others only add complexity to life. Love often intertwines with attachment, desire, and obsession, all of which lead to suffering. It's worth considering how much I cherish, whether material, emotional, or relational. If I were to die right now, the things I value, me children, my spouse, my possessions, fame, and love are what I hold dear. However, that obsession with possessions and relationships can lead to distress. Loving something can bring pain because attachment inevitably results in suffering. I should love what I love but not cling to it. Nothing truly belongs to us, there's nothing to love or hate, just a vast emptiness that offers no settled home for our hearts. We often seek love to escape loneliness, but each carries a sense of hollow solitude beneath that. Recognizing this fundamental loneliness and confronting it directly is how pure love can emerge, a love untainted by attachment. Like a flower that blossoms freely, I must avoid searching for my identity in things that aren't me. A wise person knows how to guide themselves with strength and courage, remaining aware of their past and future. I understand where the wheel of life and death eventually comes to a halt. When that wisdom transforms into a profound understanding and clarity that mirrors the Buddhas, we can call ourselves Brahmins. The strongest and bravest thing we can be is authentic to ourselves. If we lack strength and courage within, we won't be able to stand tall before others. Self control is fundamental. Someone who cannot manage themselves won't be able to guide anyone else. As Cicero said, those who commit fully to themselves and possess their essence are bound to find happiness. No one else should take ownership of your true self, not even a god. You can choose your god, don't leave it to fate or others to define you. Living your life today is your responsibility, not dictated by the divine. David Lawrence emphasized that as an individual soul, one is always alone. I am who I am, and in that truth lies my solitary existence. Acknowledging this reality is pivotal for self-acceptance and, ultimately, happiness. Building my life upon this foundation of self-awareness is where I find my greatest joy. I don't seek my identity in external validations or things that don't resonate with my true self. If I don't genuinely wish to give to someone, I must refrain from acting out. The gesture actions lacking sincerity strip away my essence. As Amiel pointed out, transforming a heavy, burdened heart into something bright and positive is the essence of true happiness. Within each person lies inherent goodness. Through that goodness, we find the strength and courage that leads to true fulfillment. Nothing is impossible if I'm willing to confront the challenges I perceive to be complicated. I can undoubtedly become a true disciple of the Buddha, and in doing so, I will uncover a strength I've always thought was unattainable. Everyone who embraces the teachings of the Buddha is considered his disciple. Those who delve into his scriptures and teachings also join the ranks of his followers. Continuous practice empowers us. We must nurture our determination and courage, realizing that we, too, can be disciples of the Buddha. It is essential to embrace the profound moments of solitude. Finding the right path in life is no simple task. The rarity of the Buddha's arrival in this world and the even rarer chance to hear his teachings remind us of the preciousness of our existence. We are often thrown into existence without a clear purpose, echoing Heidegger's reflections on the emptiness felt when one grapples with life's uncertainties. However, being cast into existence is a miracle, an incredible grace and blessing. How fortunate we are to live in a time when we can still absorb the Buddha's wisdom. It's easy to navigate life without fully grasping the magnitude of this blessing, and it's a humbling reminder of our folly. After enlightenment, the Buddha was heading to the Benares region to teach when he met a non-Buddhist named Yuba. Yuba said, "Master, your face radiates with such brilliance. Who did you ordain under, and who is your teacher?" The Buddha replied, "I am the conqueror, the one who knows everything. I am free from all desires and have broken all chains. I destroyed my cravings to gain freedom and attain supreme wisdom. I have no teacher, no one in heaven or on earth is my equal. I am the saint of this world, the highest teacher, the Buddha, who has realized the truth. I have found tranquility beyond all emotions and will proclaim the eternal truth to the world." This profound statement took aback Yuba, and he might have doubted his ears. Eventually, he hurriedly left the Buddha's side. Pascal once said there are only three types of people: those who seek God and serve Him, and others who seek. People who don't seek anything and don't try to find it lack wisdom and happiness. Then, some can see God but choose not to pursue Him. They might have some wisdom, but they're still not truly happy. The truth can only be encountered by those who are open to it. Only those who keep digging without a clear path can uncover it. Life is happening everywhere, but those who immerse themselves in that flow will inevitably separate from those who don't. That's why, in the end, everyone is alone. Embrace those mysterious moments of solitude, because it's in those times that you'll indeed become a human being. After all, you are just a being thrown into existence.